Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the best-selling Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards and Matters of the Heart. Both books are available from Llewellyn Books and are online wherever books are sold. And it is time for this week's Oracle. So earlier on my social media, I placed up a photo of 3 different animals and asked you to use your intuition and just ask yourself which animal seems to be calling to you, because that animal has your message. And the 3 animals were the dragon, the dolphin, and the octopus. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which animal seems to be calling to you, because that animal has a message for you. And you'll also want to stick around for the outro, because I will pick one final card just as a takeaway message for everybody for the week ahead. So let's go into the dragon animal spirit. And the dragon is a mythical animal that's associated with power. So if you're fascinated by dragon this week, this could be a time when you're getting called back to your own power. This could also be a time where you're interested in ancient mysteries or ancient subjects, or even some sense of magic. The dragon can indicate that this is a time for you to step into your power by manifesting something wonderful or great. And you're going to do that by really focusing on what makes you feel empowered. I also just feel like study could be so important for you this next week if you're attracted to the dragon. So, whatever it is that seems to be calling to you, this is a great time to immerse yourself in that old knowledge. First card for dragon is, where is it best for you to place your focus? And appropriately, we get the Hermit card. And the Hermit is the seeker of inner wisdom. He withdraws or retreats from the external world in order to go inward. And he has this lantern, which is lighting his path. The hermit can sometimes come up for us when we can't see the whole path clearly in our own lives. And that's those times that we have to look within, that we're not going to find the answer out in the mystery of a future that hasn't happened yet. But instead, there's something deep within us that's stirring that we need to pay attention to. And also, the hermit is walking over snow. And snow is frozen water, and water in the tarot represents our feelings or emotions. So if the hermit's walking over snow, it can indicate a time where you're examining emotions that have been put on ice. Maybe you've had to just survive through something. And, at the time you can't really feel all those feelings. Well, the hermit can indicate that you're in a safe enough place right now to circle back and look at some of these old emotions. But also, the hermit uses the starlight to guide his way and to frost the waters of the snow below him. And so this could be a really important time for you as well to examine your old emotional experiences or the things that you've gone through, and to show yourself some compassion at this time. I also just feel like the hermit could indicate that even though you can't see the whole path in front of you, you do know the next important step to take. And this card is encouraging you to take it. The advice from your inner wisdom that the hermit is unlocking is another rather mysterious liminal card with the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords for me is the card of in between. We see the woman who's in between the sky and the sea. She's in between the phases of the new moon and the full moon. And she's also balancing 2 swords. And this card can indicate that this is a time where you're also in the in-between. Just as the hermit goes into that liminal space between 2 worlds, so too with the Two of Swords. It's showing a female figure here seated who is turning inward. She's blindfolded, symbolizing she can't see the whole path in front of her, and yet she's stoic and calm. She's accessing her inner wisdom. I just feel for the dragon, it's a time of stillness, introspection. And it's also time not to fret about the future, because what you're seeking is found within. It is that calm, inner, wise sage that's absolutely going to guide you through whatever it is that's on your plate at this time. I also feel like you want to make peace with the in-between, because the in-between times in our lives are the times of transformation, when the magic of life is truly happening. And I just feel that you're phasing out of one way of life and you're starting to step into a wonderful new magical world. And it's just so important that you're calm. You're not anxious about what's before you. Both of these cards are associated with darkness as well. They show either a night scene or a dark scene. And so there is this sense that you're needing to go to the dark place. And yet it's in the dark places that healing occurs, and that's where it's found. And so I just kind of feel like this is a time of deep healing if you pick the dragon. Could also be a time of stoicism or deep inner wisdom, or also accessing that wise inner center to deal with the challenges at hand. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week appropriately is Hecate, another liminal goddess. She is the goddess of the crossroads. She's the goddess who stands at the threshold. And in the ancient myths, she also had a portion of each realm. So she had a portion of the heavens, a portion of the sea, and a portion of the earth and underworld. And so there is this sense of going in between these different worlds at this time. Hecate is also associated with magic. So there is this deep magic that's calling to you if you're attracted to the dragon this next week. And I just kind of feel like as well, magic is a change in consciousness. It's also a focused intention, being very intentional about what you want to create in your life. There's a lot of talk right now about intentionality, and I think that's so important because that is what people have been talking about forever who have been studying magic. It really is about getting clear about what you want and really placing your focus on that. And in order to get clear, in order to manifest the magic that you really want, you do have to seek out that in-between place. You do have to seek out that inner wisdom. And I just feel like being guided by your higher self, by the ancient mystery within, is going to have you make the best possible decision moving forward. Next, we're going to go into the dolphin animal spirit. And dolphins are, collectively very intelligent. They're also helpers of humanity. There's tons of stories of humans who get lost at sea, and dolphins actually come and help them. They actually help them survive and guide them towards shore. They're really playful and kind. And so dolphin could be coming up for you, not only to say that you might want to lighten up right now, you might want to leap above the waves, but you also might want to think about how you're helping others, how you're rescuing your own little corner of the world that needs your compassion or your joy or your love so much at this time. This is also an animal archetype of using your intelligence. And I just feel like this is a time for you to really use your mind in order to navigate that emotional realm of the sea. The first card for Dolphin is, where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we get the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Now, when the Knight of Pentacles comes up reversed, he's really asking you to manage your expectations, how quickly you're expecting to see something happen. He can also be a little bit of a buzzkill. The Knight of Pentacles reverse can indicate someone who's kind of a downer because he's so immersed in the practical. He's so trying to get things to work with money or material things or that external stuff that he's really neglecting some of his better opportunities. This card can just represent frustration with things not moving as fast as you'd like them to. And yet, I just feel with that dolphin energy juxtaposed against that very serious kind of downer energy of the Knight of Pentacles reversed, it's almost as if you're being asked to lighten up right now, that you're really focusing on the wrong things, or that you're really kind of picking at something that is going to grow in due course in its appropriate time, but you can't bludgeon it or bully it into growing faster than it's meant to. For everything, there is a season. And the Knight of Pentacles reverse comes up when we need to pay attention to what season we're in and allow the seasons to have time to change, to allow that growth to happen in its appropriate timing. I just feel like divine timing is all around you if you pick the dolphin animal spirit. And so there is this sense that you're needing to keep an eye on your long-term prize without getting frustrated by the results you're seeing at this particular moment. The advice from your inner wisdom, again, we got the Five of Cups, which shows this guy. He's looking at the 3 spilled cups. He's disappointed. He's saying, isn't that sad? I can't get the wine back in the cups. The party's over. And he's so transfixed on what isn't working in the card that he's completely blind to the 2 cups that are behind him that are still standing. So a lot of times the Five of Cups will really ask you to break out of a trance. If you're mulling over something in negativity and you're wondering, why do I feel so bad all the time? And it's because, as soon as you wake up, you're not even allowing yourself to be conscious or greet the morning. You're reaching for your phone and you're doom scrolling a social media feed and getting a bunch of bad algorithm. This is a card that really could say that it's time for you to snap out of it, put your focus on something else. But both of these cards also can represent a bit of a disappointment. And I don't want to sugarcoat the Five of Cups and just say, just think positive and who cares if you're feeling bad. Of course, you should listen to your grief or some sort of a loss or something that you're disappointed with. Of course, you should acknowledge these things because sometimes that's the first step to making an important change in your life and actually changing the trajectory of the energy. The problem for me with the Five of Cups is I see people waste days, weeks, months focused on this negativity. And it's almost like a trance. It's almost like they're addicted to just looking at what isn't working, what isn't working, what isn't working. And I just kind of feel like you're missing out on the stuff that is working. I feel that Dolphin is here to rescue you from a sea of disappointment or a sea of just focusing on the negative. And there is this sense of like breaking the trance when I see the Five of Cups. I wrote about this card in my book, Fearless Tarot, and in it, I taught you how to change the energy of focusing on the negative by remembering something that makes you happy. And for me, it was a place I used to visit when I was younger. As a young adult, I would go to the river. I'd go for a jog every day, and then I'd go to the river. And I'd let all my problems go to the river. I'd talk to the river as if it was a spirit. I knew it was a spirit. It was the river spirit lady. And I used to pour out all my troubles to her. And I used to watch her as she'd just flow by. And all the sunlight would dapple onto her, and it would just dazzle me like a brilliant millions of diamonds. And I just remember the heron coming to fly there, and the deer would come out. And this was in the middle of the city. You know, it was just a little path off of the city, like near a river. And there was just this little patch of nature there, but I just loved it so much. And it's just kind of like a metaphor. Sometimes we have to get out of the city, out of the busyness, and come back to nature, come back to our nature. But the way to break the trance is to stop focusing on that negative, but to remember a place where you felt powerful, where you felt like you could release your worries, where you felt supported in some way. And I just feel like it's so important for you to remember that and have that handy when you're starting to see yourself focus on what isn't working. I'm so frustrated. It feels hopeless. Because that past memory, that past version of you is a reminder that you've been happy before and you're certainly going to be happy again. And yet there is just this season of timing, this divine timing that needs to happen. I just kind of feel like you need to lighten up with what you're seeing before you in this moment. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you with this, if you pick the dolphin, is actually Hebe. And she's the goddess of youth in Greek mythology. She's also, her card says play. So because she's associated with youth, she can sometimes indicate that this is a time for you to really focus on having a playful attitude or lightening up in some way. Hebe can also come up for you to indicate that you need to remember what brought you joy. You need to remember a younger, more invincible, more fearless, courageous version of yourself that maybe life and its seriousness and the problems that we all face, they pile up. You can't go through life without any problems, and it can't always stay this happy, idyllic moment. But it's important that you're preserving that inner magical child, that you're not allowing the world to eat it up and consume it utterly, but that you retain some of that magic within you. I also feel like this is a time to give worrying a rest. So you deserve a break. So this week, I hope you spend a little bit of time playing, enjoying something, doing something creative, doing something just for the sake of enjoyment of it. There is time for that. You can make time for that. And I just feel like even if you give yourself a precious hour this week where you're just going to do what you enjoy doing and you're going to turn off the phone, do that. It's absolutely going to be a wonder for your mental health. And finally, we're going to go into our last animal spirit, which is the octopus. And the octopus for me is a really magical sea creature. It's the shapeshifter. The octopus transforms. And the octopus can also squeeze through the smallest openings, and it outwits its prey and outwits its obstacles. I saw a documentary on octopuses, if that's octopi, I don't know how you make them plural, but they are hunted by sharks all the time. They're always after the octopus. And the octopus has developed this really great brain to try to hide from the predators. And so they, squirt inks and they can shapeshift and they change their color to match their surroundings. They're really ingenious at finding a solution to a problem that might threaten them. So if you're attracted to the octopus, this could be a week where you're thinking creatively, you're flexible and adaptable, and you're allowing yourself to kind of outwit the obstacle before you. Now, first card for Octopus is where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we get the Five of Swords, which for me can represent feeling a bit overwhelmed. We see these three squires, and two of them in the distance are defeated. They tried to pick up these five heavy swords and they couldn't do it. And so they're focusing on that element of water behind them. They're staring at the sea, utterly defeated. And that water can represent being stuck in your emotions. And yet there's this other figure in the foreground who's outwitting the other two in the background. He's picking up three swords for now and leaving the other two for later. This is a card sometimes of thinking creatively to outwit your obstacles. And I'm just saying this because of that octopus message of outwitting the obstacle. There is this element of air that's whizzing through this card. It's blowing through the guy's hair, and the clouds even look like the winds are really active. And in England today, they're really active outside. It's very blustery. But the Five of Swords can indicate for you that this is a time to apply the element of air, to get really focused on what is your priority right now, what needs your attention right now to get through this time, and let those other worries go. You can't control everything. You can't control what other people are going to do or how they're going to act. You can't control how to do everything at this moment. It's such an important time for you to moderate how much of your energy you're putting out there and how much of demands you're putting on yourself to accomplish everything. You can't do everything right now. So I feel like focused attention, outwitting the obstacles, and not getting stuck in your feelings. You want to rule your feelings. You don't want to be ruled by them. And I do feel like this is a time for you to really channel your emotions in service of what your major goal is. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you pick the octopus this next week, is the Six of Swords. So how interesting. We got the 5 and then the 6. And whenever that happens in a tarot reading, and believe me, I shuffle my cards. I mean, I do a lot of readings during the week. They aren't in order. When they come up in order, they represent a leveling up, a taking the next step. That might also show the next thing on your path or the next thing that you need to go toward. And when we go from the 5 to the 6 of Swords, we see people who are defeated by that element of water in the distance on the 5 of Swords. And then we see people who are utilizing that element of water in a different way as a vehicle to get to where they want to go. 6 of Swords, advice from your inner wisdom is saying change is in the current. And you're needing to master these currents. You're needing to master that element of water. You're needing to let your feelings serve your propulsion toward your goal instead of be the blockage that's cutting you off from what you really desire. 6 of Swords can also just indicate surrender, moving on, and going with the flow. And I feel like there might be something you're really worried about, Octopus, this next week. And it's like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And I feel so overwhelmed. And yet it's basically saying, focus on what you need to right now. Prioritize what needs most of your energy or time. Let the other stuff wait by the wayside. And then you're going to pass through this just fine. Trust the current. Trust where the natural current is. And you will be led to safe shores. It's time to leave the turbulence behind. And the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week, if you pick the octopus, is Hera, the queen of the gods. And I just got back from Greece this last summer where I went to Hera's temple right outside of Argos. And it's just a ruin now, but the landscape was so amazingly beautiful. This goddess is very ancient, and she is about power, dignity, and holding and comporting yourself well under pressure. This is a time to align with the regal or noble part of your spirit. And this is a time for you to hold your dignity, even in the face of great adversity at this time. I feel as well that, you're needing to not rush or be frantic. You're needing to hold on to a sense of nobility. You're needing to almost be impervious to the challenges before you. You're needing to get into the royal barge and allow the calm waters to drift and take you to where you want to go next. But I think Hera is absolutely telling you this is a time for you to reaccess your power. And her card also says duty. And the most important duty you have is your duty to yourself, to your integrity, to your highest ideals and highest goals. And this is a time for you to check in with your personal honor code right now. And if you're violating it in any way, this is a time for you to really shift your perspective and really focus on restoring your integrity, restoring that sense of equilibrium, leaving the drama behind in the past and sailing toward a brand new shore. And that is this week's Oracle. But we got one more card for the collective. But before I get to that, if you enjoy my readings, you can book a one-on-one tarot session with me at elliotoracle.com. I'm also offering email readings right now, signed copies of my books, and all other sorts of goodies on the channel that are absolutely free of charge. So card meanings and other stuff. Also, if you enjoy my weekly content, please do like and subscribe to the channel. And also, I appreciate all of you who take the time to comment on the video. It really is so nice to see the engagement, and I just really appreciate this community and how much it's been growing, and it's all thanks to all of you. So with all that housekeeping out of the way, let's go into our final card, which is a card for the collective, something everyone should keep in mind as we're going through this next week. And we got the Knight of Wands. And the Knight of Wands is the card of adventure. He's the card of foreigners, foreign places, or foreign experiences. The Knight of Wands is engaged in his own adventure right now. He is in Egypt. You can see the pyramids behind him. And what he represents is that archetype of freedom that we really need to align with. I feel that this is a week for everyone concerned to think about what your next big adventure is going to be. This could also be a card that's inviting you into the new things in life. So instead of going through the same old, or expecting things to change without really doing anything different, this card is saying it's time to take a practical approach to what's happening and allow yourself to open up to something new. This could also be a time to be open to new perspectives. So many of us get into our own little dome of information, our own little silo in social media that's being fed an algorithm that's constantly triggering us, and it's not really challenging anything that we're thinking about the world. The biggest challenge you could do for yourself right now is to get out of your head, get off of your phone, and get into the world again, and actually connect with another human being, and somehow impact somebody's day. And I also just feel for everybody this week, look in someone's eyes this week and be courageous and smile at them. Let someone feel like they're not alone this next week. It's just so important for you to put your best out there. And you might be surprised by what you learn from that individual. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. Again, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. But I'll see you again here next week. So do take care.